I would much rather spend my time with book. Father, bring me a dinner. Now, Kitty, you'll be the man. No, you will be the man. Here, Douglas. My dear Mr. Precious, have you heard that the letter has been let last?
No, I have not.
But it is. I have just spoken to Mrs. Long, and she told me all about it. Don't you want to know who's taking it?
You won't tell me, and I have no objection of hearing it.
Why, my dear, you must know. Mrs. Long said that the letter has been taken by a man of large fortune from the north of England. That he came down on Monday in a chase and pulled to see the place, and was so much delighted that he's to take possession of all Nicholas.
And what is his name?
Mr. Bingley.
Is he married or single?
Single, my dear, to be sure. A single man of large fortune. Oh, 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls.
How so? How can it affect them?
My dear Mr. Bennet, how can you be so tiresome? You must know I'm thinking of his marriage.
Is that his design in setting here?
This time? Nonsense! How can you do so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes. What did you say his name was, Mamma? He is Mr. Bingley. Peter Bingley. Lydia Bingley. What nonsense! You haven't even seen him. Really, Mr. Bennet, you need visit him as soon as possible.
I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which perhaps will be better still, because you're as handsome as any of them. Mr. Bingley might like you the best of the party.
My dear, you flatter me. But really, you must indeed visit Mr. Bingley as soon as he comes into the neighborhood.
It is more than I engage for, I assure you.
But consider your daughters. Only think what an establishment it will be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas are determined to appeal in their account.
I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines for you to assure him of my party consent. He's marrying whichever he chooses of the girls. No, I must know a little word from my little Lizzie.
I desire to know such thing. Lizzie is not of the many good others, and I'm sure she will have no handsome to say. No loss of good humor, as Lydia, but you always give me great preference.
They have none of them much to commend them. They're all silly, ignorant like other girls. Though Lizzie is full of weakness and assistance.
Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such way? You take delight in vexing. You have no compassion for my poor nerves.
You mistake me, my dear. I can find respect of your nerves. And my old friends, I have heard you mention it with consideration piece. 20 years at least.
You do not know what I suffer.
But I go through the neighborhood and see many young men of 4,000 there coming to the neighborhood.
Mr. Bennet, we are to understand that if we not grow and stake a claim for one of our daughters, the Lucases will do that first. They will be desperate to marry her, shall we? Although, nothing marries such a very plain girl. I know she's your particular friend, but she has to admit she is very plain. Her own mother is pretty.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Lucas told me yesterday, Mr. Bingley accepted his invitation for dinner.
I knew it! I knew might not arrive in time for the ball.
And miss an opportunity to dance with my five beautiful nieces at the Meryton Assembly. Preposterous!
All night long I was in a nervous fever about the silk roses for the girls' dancing slippers.
Oh, poor dear. We may see Saturday tonight. I have them right here. And a few other little things. James, Eliza, how are you going to look?
I hope Mr. Bingley will like it.
We are not in a way to know what Mr. Bingley likes, as we are not to visit. But you forget, Mamma, that we shall meet him at the assembly, and that Mrs. Long has promised to introduce him. I do not believe Mrs. Montague any such thing. She has two nieces of her own. She is still a hypocritical woman, and I have no opinion of her.
Oh, no more than I. And I'm glad to find that you do not depend on her serving you.
For heaven's sake, stop coughing, Kitty. Have a little compassion on my nerves. You tear them to pieces.
Kitty has no discretion in her course. She finds them ill.
I feel coughing now.
When is the next ball to be, Lizzie?
Tomorrow fortnight. So it is. For Mrs. Long does not come back to the day before, so she will not be able to introduce him, for she will not know him herself.
Then, my dear, you may have the advantage of your friend and introduce Mr. Bingley to her.
Impossible, Mr. Bennet, impossible! For I'm not acquainted with him myself. How can you be so teasing? Nonsense!
What can be the meaning of the emphatic exclamation? Do you consider the force of introduction and the strength and stable of the nonsense? I cannot quite agree with you there. What say you, Mary? We are a young lady of deep reflection, I know, and read great books and make extracts. While Mary is suggesting her ideas, let us return to Mr. Bingley.
I am sick of Mr. Bingley.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Why didn't you tell me so before? If I had known as much this morning, I would have been told of him. It is very unlucky, but as I actually paid a visit, I'm afraid we cannot escape his acquaintance now.
Oh, how good it was of you, my dear Mr. Bennet. Oh, I knew you loved your girls all too well to neglect such an acquaintance. Well, how pleased I am.
Now, Kitty, you may cough as much as you choose.
My dear, my love, though you're the youngest, I dare say Mr. Bingley will best you at the next ball. Oh, I'm not afraid, but though I'm the youngest in the forest. Well, of course, we could not take the ride. He would have to dance the first with someone. So what was that? Very handsome. Very cute. And with good fortune too, do not forget. But I see he's fond of your father. Well, no matter, for he's not our type. Who is that gentleman over there?
He's a friend of Mr. Bingley's. He last fostered Mr. Bingley's sister, Caroline. The one who is usually now. But he's always been a little permanent man.
Please, allow me to introduce your chamber. This is my sister, Caroline Bingley, and this is an old friend of mine, Mr. Darcy. Come, Darcy. I must have you dance. I hate this kind of balls. Good man, you much better dance.
You know how I detest it, unless I'm particularly acquainted with my partner. Your sister is engaged in conversation, and there is no other woman present with whom it will not be a punch, Mr. Thomas.
Upon my honor, I never met with so many pleasant girls in my life. Some of them.
You are dancing with the only handsome girl here.
She's the most beautiful creature I ever beheld. But, there, one sister.
She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. Now go back to your partner and enjoy her smiles. You are wasting your time with me.
Pity poor Eliza. Not a lot to dance with.
Now, Charlotte. You didn't own that I was tolerable.
Tolerable? But oh, that was such a disagreeable partner.
Oh, Mr. Darcy, what a pity that dancing is so popular in such a polished society. Don't you agree?
Any savage can dance, Miss Bingley.
I can guess what you're thinking,
Can you indeed?
and I'm in complete agreement. I was never more annoyed. The insipidity and yet the noise, the nothingness and yet the self-importance of all these people. How insufferable it would be to spend much time in such a society.
I'm afraid you are mistaken. I was thinking what pleasure a pair of fine eyes in the face of a pretty woman can bestow.
And what lady has inspired such a reflection?
That one,
Which?
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
He's looking, shocking.
No doubt it's found an additional defect in me to criticize.
Oh, Mr. Darcy, you do make me laugh. I thought for a moment you were serious. Tell me, when am I to wish you joy?
What a very disagreeable man.
My mother heard 7,000 a year from one of the greatest estates in the country. So he has a right to be proud.
I could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine. Please.
Hello, Charlotte. Then it's all right. And Mr. Bingley says he'll give a private ball at Edinburgh until he settled. And never come here any day. They but a friend one. Even for you, Charlotte.
Lydia, I have no. Charlotte was Mr. Bingley's first choice.
It looks as though he prefers his second.
I understand that Mr. Collins has made you an offer of marriage, and that you give refusal. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
And your mother insists upon you accepting him. Isn't it so, Mrs. Bennet?
Yes, so I will never see her again.
An unhappy alternative is before you, Elizabeth. From this day, you must be a stranger to one of your parents. Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins. I will never see you again if you do.
Mr. Bennet, how is it that you never take my side? Oh, what will we do when you're dead, Mr. Bennet? How will we live?
Rest easy, my love. With any luck, I will outlive you.